This is the second part of a Level 2 Functional Skills Math paper from AQA. In this part you can use a calculator. Question 1. Which point has the coordinates -2, 3? Circle your answer. So -2, that is the x-coordinate. So looking at the x-axis, so we go into -2, and then 3, that's the y-axis. As it's positive, not negative, we're going up. So there is 1, 2, 3. So that's point A. Here is an isosceles triangle. AB is equal to AC. Work out the size of angle X. So this is line AB and this is line AC. So this tells us that this angle here will be the same as this angle here. We know that the angles in a triangle will add up to 180. So if I take away 36 from 180, that should be the total of these two angles. So 180 take away 36, 144. So if I divide 144 by 2, it should give me what each of these two angles is equal to. So 144 divided by 2 gives us 72. So this is 72 degrees and this is 72 degrees. Now we need to work out angle X. As you may know, angles on a straight line, which means this one here and this one here, they add up to 180. So 180 now, if I take away 72, it will give me what X is equal to, and that's 108 degrees. A cuboid is shown below. Draw the elevation of the cuboid in the direction of the arrow. So the arrow is going this way, so we're looking at this side. So if you positioned here, this is going to look like a rectangle with dimensions of 2 centimeter by 5 centimeter, and we're going to have to draw it here. 2 by 5. So if we join the dot, that should give us the elevation. It doesn't look perfect on screen, but when you do it on paper, it's going to look much better. Work out the total surface area of the cuboid. So if we focus on this side that we looked at, on this face, that we said was 2 centimeters by 5 centimeters. So that area is 10. centimeters. So we can write it here as well. 10. Now this one that's here on the back, which is identical to this one, that will be 10 as well. This one at the front, that will be 4 times 2, which is 8. The one here at the back, again, that will be 8, the one that's identical to this one. So we've got these ones already sorted. Now at the top, we've got dimensions of 4 centimeters by 5. So that is 20. And at the bottom will be 20. So we've got 8 and 8, 16. 6 down and 1 is carried over. 1 and 1 is 2, 3, 5, 7. $76. Don't worry about not having done the working out here, because we've done it on the diagram, and that's acceptable. Here is a tree diagram. Work out the probability of red in event 1 and red in event 2. So, event 1, red, that is 0.7. Event 2, red, that is 0.7. So, as we go across in the tree diagram, we always multiply. So, that's what we're going to do now. It's 0.7 times 0.7, which gives us 0.49. A cylinder has radius 3.2 centimeters and height 7.5 centimeters. Work out the volume of the cylinder. Well, to work out the volume, we need to find first the area, or the surface area in this case, of this cross-sectional area, which is the circle. It's the same as this one at the top. So, area of the circle, the formula for that is pi r squared. And then once we have that, we're going to multiply it by the height, which is 7.5 centimeters. So, pi r squared first. So, pi, we can use 3.14, 3.142, should be absolutely fine. And then r is the radius, which is 3.2 centimeters in this case, so radius squared. Inputting this in the calculator gives us 32.1536. Now we're going to multiply that by 7.5. to get the volume, and that is 241.152 centimeters cubed, or cubic centimeters. Let's write the final answer here. Cycle race. Paul and Fran want to enter a 60-kilometer cycle race. They look at the reviews of 2 races, A and B, from last year. Each review gives a score out of 5 stars to show how good the race was. Here is some information about the review scores for race A. We've got mean, 4.1 stars, median, 4 stars, range 3 stars. The frequency table shows the review scores of race B. We've got review scores and the frequencies. They entered the race with a higher average review score. Which race do they enter? You must show your working. It says here the higher average review score, so higher average. Now you could use the mean or you could use the median, it doesn't really matter, as long as you use one of them. I'm going to use the mean, so we've got to work out the mean for race B now. So we've got score being 1, frequency 0, that means 1 times 0 gives us 0, 2 times 1 gives us 2, 3 times 1 gives us 3, 4 times 4 gives us 16, 5 times 6 gives us 30, adding them all together, 2 and 3, 5, and 6, 11, 1, 2, 51, total frequency is 6 and 4, 10, 11, 12, so 51 divided by 12 should give us the mean. And that's 4.25. Let's compare it to the mean for race A, that is 4.1. So the mean for race B is higher, so that's what we're going to pick. We're going to pick race B. So we're going to say race B as it has a higher mean. 4.25 is greater than 4.1. Fran wants to buy a new bike for the race. She sees this offer. Racing bike, £708 including VAT at 20%. Special offer, we pay the VAT. So we're going to have to work out the price prior to adding VAT. Fran has £600 to spend. Can she afford the bike? You must show you're working. There are different methods you could use to work this out. I'll just pick one of them. So we don't know that original price of the bike or the price without VAT. So if I'm just to represent that here as the 100% amount, then to that 20% has been added, which is the VAT. So in total, with the VAT, this is 120%. And that 120% amount is £708. Now, if I want to work out just the 100% amount, this one here that I am highlighting, then I'm going to have to divide this 708 by 120 so I could get just 1%. So dividing that by 120 gives us 5.9. So a tiny 1% amount is equal to 5.9. What we want to do is work out 100%. So we're going to multiply this by 100. So 5.9 times 100 gives us 590. So that is £590. That was the price before VAT. And can she afford the bike? Yes, because she's got £610 more. So we're going to say here, yes, she has £10 more. Before I move on, very quickly, I'll share with you that you see how we did this with the £708. We divided by 120 and then multiplied by 100. A shortcut would have been to go 708 divided by 1.2, and it would still have given us the same answer at the end. So it's just shorter. And it's good to know. Especially in the exam, it will come really handy. Paul and Fran start the race at the same time. Fran cycles the 60 kilometers at an average speed of 15 miles per hour. Fran completes the race and waits for Paul to finish. Paul finishes the race in 167 minutes. Does Fran wait for more than 10 minutes? Use 1 mile equals 1.6 kilometers. You must show you're working. So we're going to make use of the speed formula here. So speed, if you've forgotten the formula, normally we say miles per hour. And that is what it is. So speed, miles represents the distance, hours represent the time. So focusing on Fran first, we've got the speed for her, and that is 15 miles per hour. Do we know the distance? Yes, that is 60, but it's kilometers, so we're going to convert that into miles first. So we know that 1 mile is equal to 1.6 kilometers. What about 60 kilometers? What is that equal to? So what we're going to do is 60 divided by 1.6 using a calculator, and that is 37.5. So in other words, 1.6 times 37.5 gives us 60 kilometers. So we need to do the same on the other side. Multiply by 37.5. 1 times 37.5 gives us 37.5 miles. So we know now what to put here at the top. So 37.5. Do we know the time? No, we don't. That's what we're going to work out. So practically we're saying 37.5 divided by this number here, which is represented by t, gives us 15. What we can do instead to work out t, we can do 37.5 divided by 15, because it's like this triangle here. So these two numbers you multiply to get this one, or to work out any of the missing values at the bottom, you go dividing that number at the top by the number at the bottom. So in this case we need to work out this one, so we're going to do 37.5 divided by 15. And that gives us 2.5. What unit is that? That is hours, because we input hours. So now the question is, does Fran wait for more than 10 minutes? Because Paul finishes the race in 167 minutes. You could convert these into hours, but I think it's easier to convert into minutes. So if I convert 2.5 hours into minutes, 2 hours is 120, and add the 30 gives us 150 minutes. So really shortcut would have been 2.5 times 60, because there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, and that gives us 150 minutes. So that's how long Fran takes, whereas Paul finishes in 167 minutes. So take away 150, that gives us 17 minutes. So does Fran wait more than 10 minutes? Yes, he does. So we're going to say yes, 17 minutes. Supermarket. Lucas is going shopping at a supermarket. Lucas has a budget of £50 per week for food. He has already spent £12.50 on takeaway meals. What fraction of his budget does he have left? So he has already spent 12.5 out of the 50. If we double both of the amounts, so we get 25 out of 100. So that is what has already been spent. And if we take that away from the full 100% amount, then we're left with 75 over 100, 75 hundredths. Now you could leave this fraction as it is, or you could simplify it further, and you know this is 3/4. So we could say 3/4 here, or 75 hundredths. Lucas buys a 450-gram packet of biscuits. He reads the label. Sugar content 26.4 grams per 100 grams. Maximum recommended daily amount of sugar 30 grams. Lucas eats 2 biscuits. Work out the percentage of the MRDA of sugar in the 2 biscuits. So let's find out how much sugar there is in the 36 biscuits, the whole pack, which weighs 450 grams. So in 100 grams of biscuits, we have 26.4 grams of sugar. What about 450 grams of biscuits? So what have we multiplied 100 by to get 450? And if you don't know this by heart, you can, in a calculator, do 450 divided by 100, and it gives you 4.5. So we've multiplied 100 by 4.5 to get 450. So we'll do the same on the other side. So 26.4 times 4.5, and it gives us 118.8 grams. That's how much sugar there is in the whole pack of biscuits. Now we're going to work out how much sugar there is in one biscuit. So we're going to do 118.8 divided by 36, which is 3.3 grams of sugar per biscuit. We're told that Lucas eats 2 biscuits, so we're going to do 2 times 3.3, which gives us 6.6 grams of sugar. Now we asked to work that out as a percentage of the MRDA of sugar in the 2 biscuits. So 6.6 out of the 30 grams, which with a calculator doing 6.6 divided by 30, you get 0.22. Now, as a percentage, what is that? So remember, this is like 22 pence, and it means 22%. You could just multiply it by 100 as well. That's another way. So the answer is 22%. Lucas looks at his car's petrol gauge and decides to fill up the petrol tank. The petrol tank holds 70 litres when full. Petrol costs 126.8 pence per litre. How much does Lucas pay to fill up the tank? So at the moment, the tank is 24% full. So what's remaining is 100, take away 24, that leaves us with 76% of the tank to be filled. So we're going to look at working out 76% of 70 litres, which is the full amount. So 76% is 76 out of 100 of the amount, which is 70 litres. So with a calculator, we'll do 76 divided by 100 times 70, which gives us 53.2 litres, that is. 1 litre, as we said, costs 126.8 pence, so we're going to do 53.2 times 126.8, which gives us 6,745.76. Now remember, we input pence, so that's what we're getting out. That's pence, the unit for 6,745.76. Now we're going to need to convert this into pounds because that's what we pay when we go to the shop. So there are 100 pence in a pound, so that means we need to divide this by 100, and we get 67.4576. Remember, we can only have 2 digits after the decimal point when it comes to money, so we're going to decide what we do here. Do we round down or do we round up? Looking at the next digit, that's a 7, so that means we round up, and this becomes a 6. We keep the rest of the digits the same, the ones that come before the one we're talking about. So 67 pounds and 46 pence. Got the unit included in the answer, so 67 pounds and 46 pence. Driveway. Meg owns a company that builds concrete driveways. Here is a sketch of a plan of a driveway made from a rectangle and a triangle. Meg charges £120 per square meter to construct the driveway. Work out the total amount she charges for the driveway. So we're going to split this into 2 shapes, into a rectangle and a triangle. So we're going to work out the area. At the moment, we can work out the area of the rectangle because we've got the 2 dimensions. So we've got 3.5 and 10.2. So we're going to do 3.5 times 10.2. And that gives us 35.7. Now we need to work out the area of the triangle. Do we have the dimensions that we need? We're looking for the base here, so we haven't got that at the moment, but we need to work it out. So this whole length is 6.5. If I take away this one here, which is going to be 3.5, just like this one, then we should work it out. So I'm going to do 6.5, take away 3.5. That gives us 3 meters. Now looking at the height, we'll write this down before I move on. Looking at the height, we're looking at this. So the total length is 10.2. If I take away 4.8, it gives me the height of the triangle. So 10.2 take away 4.8 gives us 5.4 meters. So now we can easily work out the area of the triangle, which is base times height divided by 2. So base is 3, height is 5.4 divided by 2. So that is 16.2 divided by 2, which gives us 8.1. So we've got the area for the triangle as well, and the area for the rectangle, adding them together. So 35.7 plus the 8.1, it gives us 43.8. That's the total area for the shape. Now Meg charges £120 per square meter. So we're going to multiply this by 120. So 43.8 times 120, that gives us 5,256. And that is pounds, because 120 was pounds as well. And that's the answer. Meg promises the customer that the driveway will be constructed in 7 days. Meg has 3 workers. It'd take the 3 workers 11 days to construct the driveway. Work out the minimum number of extra workers Meg needs to employ. Assume all workers work at the same rate. You must show your working. So it takes 3 workers 11 days to do this. We're going to try and find out how many workers will be needed to complete this in 7 days. So thing to remember here is that this is not direct proportion, the one that you used to using, the one where you do to one side what you do to the other side. This is inverse proportion. So if one side increases, the other one decreases, and vice versa. So in this case now, we've got these 2 numbers given to us in the same column, so we're going to use those. So if I do 11 divided by 7, it will give me the number that I've multiplied 7 by to get to 11. And that number is 1.571 and so on. Now, once you get that number in the calculator, use that to do the next step. So as we said, because it's inverse calculation, now the arrow will go down like this. So I'm going to do 3 times this number. So I've got that number already in the calculator, and I'm just going to do times 3. And that gives me 4.714 and so on. So I multiplied 1.571 by 3 and it gave me this number. Now, as we're talking about people, workers, we're going to have to round this, and it's always a case of rounding up. So that would be 5 workers. The question was work out the minimum number of extra workers. So Meg has already got 3 workers, so that's 2 more. Meg paints a different driveway with a waterproof coating. The driveway covers an area of 35.75 square meters. The coating is made by mixing sealant and water in the ratio 3:8. 2 liters of the coating will cover 1 square meter of driveway. Sealant is sold in 1.5 liter bottles. How many bottles of sealant does she need? So the ratio of sealant to water is 3:8. We know that 2 liters of coating, which is the mixture, will cover 1 square meter of driveway. So coating, 2 liters, covers 1 square meter. The area that it covers. What about 35.75 square meters? So we're going to multiply 2 by 35.75, which gives us 71.5 liters. So let's go back to the ratio now to help us with that, because we need to work out how much sealant is needed. So this is the total mixture, the coating. So we're looking at the units overall. 3 and 8, that is 11 units. What if we need 71.5? So what do we multiply 11 by to get 71.5? So in the calculator, if you do 71.5 divided by 11, it gives you 6.5. So we need to do the same thing with the unit for the sealant. So 3 times 6.5 gives us 19.5. That is liters. So 19.5 liters of sealant. Sealant is sold in 1.5 liter bottles. So 19.5 divided by 1.5 gives us 13 bottles. Apartment. Pete wants to rent an apartment near Norwich city centre. He records information about 10 apartments on a scatter diagram. The diagram shows the distance from the city centre in kilometers, the weekly rent in pounds. The table shows extra data about 2 other apartments. Pete rents an apartment for £280 per week. Use the scatter diagram with the extra data to estimate the distance from the city centre to the apartment. You must show your working, which should be on the diagram. So the first thing will be to represent the extra data on the graph. So we've got 2 other apartments. The first one, distance from the city centre is 2 kilometers. Weekly rent is £250. So distance 2 and weekly rent is 250. And then the next one, distance from city centre is 3.2. So 3.2 will be here. And the rent is £180. So going up to 180. So this is 100, this is 200, 100, and 20, 40, 60, 80. That looks like it's right. Now we're going to need to draw a line of best fit, because we'll need to use that to estimate the distance from the city centre to this apartment, for which the rent is £280 per week. So trying to draw a line that goes through the points in the middle, roughly, and that looks like it. So 280 per week. Where is that? That is 220, 40, 60, 80. So where does that meet the line? It's about this point. So going down, that would be 2.567, 2.7 kilometers. Pete has the scale diagram of the living room in the apartment. Pete wants to cover one wall with wallpaper. The width of the wall on the scale drawing is 15.9 centimeters. The scale is 1 to 60. The wallpaper Pete wants comes in rolls of width 0.53 meters and length 10.05 meters. Costs £13.85 per roll. The height of the room is 2.65 meters. Pete cuts the rolls into lengths of 2.65 meters. Work out the total cost of the rolls of wallpaper that Pete needs for the wall. So we're looking at one wall. The width is 15.9 centimeters. That is on paper, on the scale drawing. And the scale is 1 to 60. So that means in reality this will be 60 times larger. So 15.9 times 60 will give us the actual dimension of the width of the room. So that is 954. And that is centimeters. As the rest of the units in the question are in meters, we're going to convert this into meters as well. So there are 100 centimeters in a meter. So we're going to divide 954 by 100 to get 9.54 meters. The height of the room is 2.65 meters. So the wallpaper comes in rolls of width 0.5 meters and length 10.05. And also Pete cuts the rolls into lengths of 2.65 meters. So you can imagine them going like this with width 0.53 meters, and that would be the length for it. So since one roll is 10.05 meters long, if we divide it by 2.65, we can work out how many of these strips one roll will cover. And that's about 3.79. So again, we've got to round down because you can't do 4 full ones. So that is 3 of these rows. But how many are there in total? So we're going to have to divide 9.54 by 0.53, and that gives us 18. So 18 widths in total. One roll covers 3 of them. So how many rolls are needed? 18 divided by 3 gives us 6. So 6 rolls are needed. One roll costs £13.85. So we're going to go 6 times 13.85, and that gives us 83.1. So that is £83.10. Pete wants to hide the wires from his TV. Wires can be hidden in plastic trunking. Trunking can be cut to any length. Pete needs 3 pieces of trunking measuring 1.5 meters, 2.25 meters, 90 centimeters. Pete has 15 feet of trunking. Is this enough? Use 1 foot equals 12 inches. Use 1 inch equals 2.5 centimeters. And the other thing we should know is there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So in 1.5 meters there will be 150 centimeters. In 2.25 meters there will be 225 centimeters, and then we have 90 centimeters. So adding all of these together gives us 465 centimeters. Now let's convert the feet into centimeters. So 1 foot is 12 inches, so 15 feet, that will be 15 times 12 to convert it into inches first, which is 180 inches. 1 inch is 2.5 centimeters, so 180 times 2.5 gives us 450 centimeters. So is this enough? No, it's not, because 465 are needed and he's got only 450. So we're going to say no, 15 more centimeters are needed. And this is the end of the paper.